drawing and everything. And this time it was me. And I'm not going to lie to you one bit. It was nerve wracking as heck, man. I was more nervous on that hunt than I've ever been hunting.
Joining the Voyage Outdoor podcast today, we have Trent with Born and Raised Outdoors, and we cannot thank him enough for jumping on. Thanks again, Trent. I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem, Seth. I look forward to this, man.
Yeah. So I usually start out with some rapid fire stuff where it's either or questions because I want to know a few different things. So I'll just go and let you answer freely. So first one's going to be favorite animal besides an elk to hunt.
Favorite animal would be, man, I've swung a couple different ways on this just because I'm starting to get into mule deer hunting, and mule deer hunting is so much fun. But blacktail hunting there's something about it it's just a lot of people don't see them very often, and so anyway, probably blacktail or mule deer, probably, I would say.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I was going to guess spring bear, but all right. Yeah, I like that.
I enjoy spring bear, but I enjoy taking people hunting for spring bear. Hunting them myself. I haven't had a tag in I don't know how many years, but I enjoy taking people to hunt them. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering. I didn't know if I've seen you spring bear hunt and on any of the videos or not.
No, I don't think there's ever one video that I've ever shot a spring bear on our stuff, and we have dozens of them. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I've been there for a lot of them.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, this next one I think is I can probably guess what you're going to guess, but solo hunt with just one cameraman or just like the big group setting, like kind of how you guys.
Yeah. Definitely the group setting. Definitely. Yeah. It's just so much more effective for one, and just the camaraderie of it. Like, even if I was to say, hey, Trent, you have an elk tag, would you go alone on it? I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. I would go, but I wouldn't enjoy it as much, man. It's the group aspect that really, I really enjoy.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that. I've talked about it on the last few podcasts. I love hunting with somebody. It's because when you kill something, it's like we share it together. Together, you know what I'm saying? It feels so, it doesn't matter. And I'm that way. I like taking people and filming, and I just feels like we did it together,
Yeah, I would agree. The
memories are much more special together. But yeah, okay. All right, this one's 4 days to kill an elk.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can't bow hunt an elk again, or rifle hunt an elk, anything, but you have 4 days. Where are you going to go? Because I can go kill one there most likely in 4 days.
I'm going to probably pick the last 2 days of the Wyoming season.
Okay.
And I'll hunt those last two with the bow. And then the day after that's rifle season. So I'll hunt the second of the 4 days with a rifle. And in those 4 days, I'm pretty confident we could get it. We could kill an elk.
Yeah. That's always my funny one. But Wyoming. Okay. I would go
Wyoming.
You like Wyoming? Okay.
Love Wyoming, man. Love Wyoming. It's always been really, really good to us. And it's just the most beautiful place and the people there are just fantastic. We've never ran into bad people in Wyoming. It's just been always a huge blessing. So that's why I would go with Wyoming.
Yeah. And with that being said, how does Wyoming do their tags? I don't think I've ever looked.
Well, it's really tough, actually. When we first started doing this, you could almost every year be guaranteed general tag. So a general season elk tag. And now we've been into it for, I don't know how many years now, but since then it's been tough, man. Now it's like 3, sometimes 4 years in between getting a general season tag. So it's kind of exploded. It's those darn YouTubers, you know what I mean? So
yeah, you guys have little secrets out, man. Wow.
Yeah, no, it's Wyoming's. If you get a chance to go hunt it, you have to go hunt it. It's just the most beautiful place ever, man.
Yeah, I think we're gonna start putting in for those.
You need to
different spots.
And so like Wyoming, just to throw your name, just to get a point, it's for an elk, I think it's $50 a year. Yeah. So you don't have to spend like Montana, you got to spend, 700 and some odd for the license before you can ever get a tag, apply for even a point for a tag. Wyoming is just give me a point, and it's not that much money. So it's a good one to start stocking points away for.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely do that then. That's how Iowa whitetail is. You have to put in 50. I think it's like $50, but it's like 3 or 4.
Okay.
Same kind of system. We'll probably start putting in for that as well. I think, is it Arizona and New Mexico are things we want to look into as well.
Yep. Those are other good ones. New Mexico's starting to change their laws just a little bit, but that used to be just put in, and it doesn't really go off of points as much as just a luck of the draw. Anybody can draw it. And that's why Trevor's drawn New Mexico. I've got a couple other buddies that's drawn New Mexico numerous times. So
yeah, and we had the guy we went with to Colorado. He went on the private hunt in New Mexico that you can go on.
Yep.
He said when he was there, he's seen more elk over on the public ground, just glassing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we want to try to get that public tag.
Oh yeah.
As well. So.
Yeah. No, New Mexico is a special spot. Arizona, unbelievable. I've been able to not personally hunt either one, but take people in both of those spots.
Yeah.
We've just, there's a lot of elk there. They manage their elk really well, really well.
Yeah, I've seen obviously some of your Arizona videos, and those are awesome. Like those are beautiful. I think the scenery. Yeah. I work for a software company, and I sell to New Mexico and Arizona, and the schools there. And one of the ladies I sold to, she's a huge or elk hunter, and her in New Mexico, and her husband, they showed me their house via Zoom call, and they were showing me their elk, and they were awesome. Like, so I definitely want to get down. They want me to come. They want me to get a public tag and come down.
Cool.
So, yeah, those two states I definitely want to.
100%.
All right. This one I'm curious about, especially all the videos I watched with you. Rifle or bow?
Man, I started out bow hunting for years and years and years. My dad actually introduced us to bow hunting when we were just tiny, little, and we bow hunted all the time. And then I rifle hunted a little bit for deer back in those days. And I just, since we've been working with SIG so closely and designing our own rifles and stuff, I've really dove back into the rifle hunting side of things. And so like this year I have a bow tag. It'll be the first bow tag that I've had like 3 or 4 years, so I'm super excited about that. Don't get me wrong. But also exploring the rifle game. I drew a really good tag. I burned all my Oregon points last year on a rifle tag, and people are surprised at that, but it's just something I just wanted to do. And it's just been so much fun. When you do something for so long, I think, and you just do that one thing, you kind of get used to it, and you kind of get in the rhythm and everything. But then when you introduce something else that's totally different, when you add in ballistics and bullets and all this different stuff, it's trajectory and wind and stuff, man, there's so much to it, complexity to rifle hunting. And it's almost like relearning bow hunting, right? It's almost like getting to do something over again. And that's what it's been like for me. And it's just been awesome. So I would say, that's a really, really tough one right now. I would say rifle, but 2 years down the road, I'll bet you I'll go back to more bow hunting, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I was curious to hear your answer on that. I know it looks like you obviously you hunt with both, but I was curious to hear that. That's pretty cool. I think that's true though. I mean, you bow hunt your whole life. Me, I started out rifle hunting. Now it's all bow, right? And I'm just all about the bow aspect. And so I love rifle hunting. It's fun, tinkering, shooting, all that long range, short range, just everything's pretty cool about it. But
it's a definite. And I think it makes you a well-rounded hunter too. I think a lot of it is like, rifle hunting, bow hunting, you never have to worry about snow and hail and that being an issue, whereas like rifle hunting, the elements are different because it's later in the year and they're not rutting. And so you have to figure out different patterns for them. And you really, I think, get really in tune to become a better, well-rounded hunter, if that makes any sense at all. It's just, it's a totally different environment, and their emotions are totally different that time of the year. So.
Yeah. And, people don't realize there's still things could happen because obviously watching your bull last year, right? You had that malfunction on the hillside, it looked like. I mean, that stuff comes into play just as often, with that. And that was probably hard too. But I mean, by the way, we'll dive into your bull. It was last year's bull, correct?
Yes.
Posted 7 months ago. That incredible video.
Yeah. It was unbelievable.
You could just tell the emotion and how awesome of a hunt that was, just from watching. So and I'll jump right into that. Walk me through that hunt, like how you felt. I know you were kind of selfless and you film and you help and you guide, and that time it was you behind the gun, so to say. How'd that play out and how'd that feel?
It was pretty crazy, man. I'll be honest, as far as just the whole side of, it's like you said, I've always been the guy that's taking the people, with the big tag, with the big, with all the points and drawing and everything. And this time it was me. And I'm not going to lie to you one bit. It was nerve wracking as heck, man. I was more nervous on that hunt than I've ever been hunting. And I don't know if that's good or bad. I really don't. And that's why I tell people, I say, that draw a big tag, kind of beware what you wish for a little bit, just because I was there. It took me 16 days to kill that bull. And
Wow.
it was, my dad was there the whole time with me. Chase, one of our camera guys, and Noah, they were there pretty much the whole time with me. It was a long time, man. It was a long time. And then Trevor and some other friends, some of our crew were in and out as they could, afford time, to be on it there. And so it was just, it was so blessed that I was able to get that bull on the weekend that Trevor and all those guys were there with me to help and everything. And because those canyons are giant, man. I mean, you're dropping almost 2,000 feet every time to try to go get a shot, across one of these canyons. And so it's big country. And I'd never really hunted stuff quite like that before. I've hunted huge country and long hikes and packed in for 10 days at a time, all that kind of stuff. But it was just like, you have to drop to shoot across. That was kind of the mode of what I was doing. And you would pattern these bulls. They would come out in certain sections and you'd be like, okay, he's been out there 2 days in a row. And that's when I want to try to kill. I need to be here to shoot across to there. And that's what, and then you'd go down there and drop all that elevation and lay there on the ground, and he'd not come. Nope, he didn't show up that night, or didn't show up that morning, or so. And you're just like, all right, well, hike all the way back up. All right, let's do this again. All right, let's find another one. Okay, there he is. He's out now. Okay, he's out now. Okay, let's try this. And so it just took a lot of doing that in order to get that done. And we were on that bull like day 2, a nice big 7. It was a good bull, biggest bull I would have ever killed, honestly. And anyway, and Trevor, I never forget it. He says, well, Trent, he goes, you can't, because I wanted to kill a big one. That was my goal, is to kill a big one. And he said, you can't kill a big one if you kill that one, he said. I'm like, well, that's pretty darn big. I mean, it's pretty good size,
Yeah, that was a big bull.
It was well over 300, but anyway. But yeah, that whole hunt, man, it was nerve wracking. It was really, really nerve wracking, and I didn't know how I would handle it. And if I had it to do over again, I would do it, I think, a lot the same way. But it was just so difficult as far as just your emotions. It's that whole elk hunting, or hunting in general, the roller coaster, right? That you go through. It's whether it be whitetail probably or anything. I just oh, there's one. The emotions are high up. He's going away. It's just that roller coaster. The roller coaster.
With that being said, I think a lot of people experience that. I mean, people, whether ups or downs, they kind of want to pull back. Maybe it's not working. 16 days. I don't think people sometimes realize like how much commitment.
Yeah.
You just saying 16 days. I'm like, that's a long time out there in commitment and grind. What do you think it's people around you that keep you going for that long, to keep that grind going?
Yes, and your mind frame. So that was when I did Land of the Free, when I did the Land of the Free 1.0, when we very first had the idea of hunting in 5 different states, 10 days apiece. I hunted 53 days straight and just traveled at night in between states. And it was a mind frame, man. I had to do this whole, just wrap my head around it. And just do it, because there was times I called home, in between states. I'd get cell service, and I'd just be like, honey, I don't want to I want to go home, and she would be like, yeah, no, you're staying. And this is when we were first kind of firing off to get this whole thing running with the Land of the Free and all this. And it was amazing. The response was amazing to it. But yeah, it's a mindset. You have to tell yourself, and a lot of people, they're just, I ran into a lot of people all the time that just say, oh man, you have the best job ever. And don't get me wrong, I do have the best job ever, but even a 10-day hunt, like you're going to go in somewhere in the backcountry or whatever, Colorado, OTC, whatever it may be, 10 days in a row and packing all day and going and back into stuff. It is more than people think, I think, at times. I've talked to guys that were like, I made it 3 days and I quit. I couldn't do it anymore, and I don't think it's physical as much as just your mental, man. It just eats on you, and you're out there, and it's everything has to come right. Everything has to come together to get this goal that you want, this harvesting an elk, or whatever your goal may be. Everything has to go right. And it sometimes, I think, mentally it doesn't feel like it's even, if it's like, it doesn't even feel possible, right? It doesn't feel. So you're telling me I'm going to call in this thing, it's going to come in screaming its head off, and I'm going to shoot it with this stupid little arrow. It's like, there's a lot that has to go right.
Yeah. And you haven't heard one for 5 days.
Exactly. And I haven't heard one or seen one for a week. Yeah.
That was great what you said, because I just feel like so many of us get out there, and that's what I think we loved a little bit, was the mental aspect of it was so challenging for us. And I would say we fit mentally out there. And that's why we want to go back and redeem ourselves, right? We know we could push farther, push harder, stay longer.
You would say, you would say that you failed, you said?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
I would say we failed. Yeah.
Interesting.
Sure. Yeah. And of course, I don't think we defined our success on killing something last year, but
good.
Our success was pushing past that stopping point. Mm-hmm. And we didn't push past it.
Gotcha.
And we got a good group of guys too. So I think we've kind of we've talked a lot in the off season, obviously this year, and just talking about how we're going to go about it, how we can be better. Because it was just a slap in the face. Like, this is not whitetail hunting.
Oh man, I love it. I love
look up that mountain and be like, oh man, but and that's what we want to do. We love it. We love the challenge. Good. We love
Good.
We try to stay in the best shape we can to get out there, but that's 20, 30, 40% of it. That mental aspect is huge.
Yeah. Oh, you're totally 100% right, man. You've got to be there in the mind frame and that's why we did the whole, when we came out with our own packs and all that kind of stuff. It's just, it only takes one, and it's written on our guns. It's written on our bows. It's written on because it is so easy to just be like, it is not going to happen. It is not going to happen. And then I will be honest with the flip side of that. It's just like, you can be down in the dumps and just, oh man, so frustrated and so burned out. And then in 10 minutes, you have 300 inch or whatever your goal may be of an elk on the ground, dead. I mean, it has happened dozens, if not hundreds of times to us, just like, man, it's never going to happen. And then 10 minutes later, you've just succeeded on every single goal that you set out for. It's just crazy.
Yeah, elk hunting, man, it does a lot for you. I think also if you go out there, I think it's great to get out there and experience that. You talk about the mental side's tough, but once you push past like that mental barrier, I mean, I think it helps me in everyday life. I'm trying to start a business. I'm trying to push farther than that. I think every aspect of hunting brings that out of you to be able to push and be a better person. And of course, you're closer to God out there in the mountains. If you believe in God, you're out there closer to Him.
Absolutely.
In my opinion. So yeah, I love it. And with that being said, like when you guys, I want to kind of go back to when you guys all decided, or when you guys met, when you decided to do a YouTube. How'd that come together? Like, how'd you guys all meet? How'd it come together?
So, man, back in 2007, seems like a little bit ago. We all of us, the guys in our group, and Ty was in our group at that time. Anyway, we all loved hunting. We all loved bow hunting, and we all loved bow elk hunting. And there was nothing on TV that depicted what we wanted to show. There was never that brotherhood that you saw. It was all ranches. It was all, don't get me wrong, I love Primos. That inspired me. All of us is watching the Primos videos, the truth series, and we'd get them every single year. The VHS at that time, it wasn't even a DVD yet. That's how bad it was, or long time ago it was. And anyway, we'd get those, and we'd watch them and just thought, man, if we could show true elk hunting, because we elk hunted every year and we were successful and pretty successful around here. And so we're like, well, shoot, if we can show a real bow hunt, like what it really is. And there was nothing with Roosevelt's on it either. There was nothing out there that showed Roosevelt hunting. And so we're like, well, what if we just do it and just get a camera? So Trevor had a school loan, and because he was just getting ready for dental school. So we took some of his school loan to buy our first camera with, of course, and anyway, and so we bought a Canon, just an old Canon G1, I think it was old.
Yeah,
but
at now.
Yeah, exactly. At the time, man, that was top of the line, and so we did that and bought some tapes and everything, and we just started filming our own stuff, and just the school of hard knocks, pretty much, just learning through our mistakes. And then that first season that we did that, we didn't kill anything all the way up until 4 days before the end of the season. And we worked our butts off too, had close calls, had, almost shots and everything. And then those last 4 days, all 4 of us killed an elk on every single day of the last 4. And so it kind of solidified, okay, what we're doing something right here, guys. We're doing something good. And
all those on film.
And we don't know how to edit. So all of those were on film. Yeah. Mine wasn't. The camera was kind of sitting there when I shot it, and you can see the camera. And anyway, and then I was just up over the ridge, so that wasn't exactly on. It was the film. The camera was running, but it was just me and Trevor at the time. And so anyway, but we just it was one of those things where it's like, okay, now we got to figure out how to show this to the people, because we don't know how to edit. So went to a guy. Biggest mistake of our life. Went to a guy, and anyway, and he started helping us out. Great dude. And he said, why don't you guys put this on YouTube? And at that time, YouTube was so infinite. It was like cat videos, and stuff like that. Little, it was, and we're like, no, that's DVD is where it's at, bro. DVD. And if we would have taken his advice right then and put all of our stuff up on YouTube, and it would be unreal as to what, now that would look like, but we didn't, we didn't
have known that was going to be such a important piece to the hunting world,
Yeah. It's amazing, the platform that it's built. Honestly, it's just been amazing. But yeah, so then we just started, DVD time, bro. And so every year we would make a DVD out of our hunts for the year. And our goal in that was to go, and we would go to all the sports shows and stuff like that, and we would peddle these DVDs, Yeah. And it was be like, we're trying to gain enough money to go on our next year's hunts. That was our goal, is to one of these days go out of state. And so one year we did enough sales, and then we actually got some sponsors. First Light threw down, EXO, all these different little companies started at that time, throwing down. And it was just one of those things where it just started to blossom a little bit, to where they would give us money, and then we could do our out-of-state hunts and start. And that was the first year we went to Wyoming, and it was unreal. We all killed, I think in 7 or 10 days, we killed 5 bulls, and that's what just kind of catapulted us to it was just to the adventure, right? And so, and fast forward to now, and we all had full-time jobs then. We did not, there was no like, hey, we're doing YouTube, this is awesome. There was none of that. It was DVDs, and just pedaling as many as we could. And then we got into all the sports shops, and then Cabela's found us somehow, and we got our DVDs into Cabela's store, and we thought that, well, we made it, we made it, We did not make it. We did not make it. But anyway, and then it just kind of snowballed into about 4.5 years ago. I said, well, why don't we just put all of this on YouTube? And then, my goal was to quit my job. That was my goal. And it just step by step, we thought we had enough money to do it. And then we started this Land of the Free thing. And that's when we came up with the idea. Cody did. And, anyway, and he's like, let's just film our whole hunting season and film every single day. And then let's do a daily video after that and post it every day. Nobody's ever done that.
That's
and
right.
And I'm like, it was a great idea at the time, but we didn't realize how much work goes into posting every single day after coming off of a hunting season that you're gone for, almost 60 days straight. So then we took 2 weeks or a week and a half off when we got back, and then we started posting. And there was no weekends. It was every day. You're editing every single day, clear through Christmas. And man, it was just a huge ongoing.
Now, When you guys first started the DVD, did you guys talk then about, hey, let's start an LLC, let's get this business put together? Was that at the start, or was that kind of
Yes.
midway through?
Yeah. Thankfully, Cody comes from a business background. So does my brother. He's really, really good at that kind of stuff. And so we knew right off the bat at the time that we needed to figure this out on the side of business first, and on the side of however this ownership or whatever this thing is, right? And so we had a business plan. I mean, in the infancy of it, when it wasn't anything. And so, which I would tell everybody listening, if you're going to look into doing anything like this, I don't care what it is. If you're making trinkets and gizmos, I don't care. Get a business plan around it. And it is amazing how often, honestly, that one, it saves our butt from any, arguments and stuff like that. That's good side of it too. But for two, like your vision and your foresight of where you're going and what you're doing, always you can reference that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, what's our pillars? We'll do it all the time. Our pillars are to entertain and educate and inspire people. So we'll make a video and we'll be like, is this something we want to show? I mean, does it have any of those? Does it hit any of those marks? And if it does, that's something that we're going to want to post and put out there. If it doesn't, maybe that wasn't the right video that we're supposed to do, and we'll move on, kind of thing. So
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, kind of having that business plan set up, because also, I mean, if you got people around you, I want to know myself, do you have the same vision as me, right?
yes. Yeah.
You have the same, do you see this going here? You see it, oh, you see it going here, and then we can sit down and talk. So yeah, and I wanted to bring that up. I think it's a good part that you said there of kind of anybody. There's a lot of people starting like us that are, at the ground level, and they're probably not thinking LLC. I'm kind of thinking, I've got all that stuff set up, but I think it's important for anybody starting to kind of get that stuff built, even though you may not think they're $1 coming in for another 3 years. It's still important to kind of get that stuff set up. But
it saves the down the road stuff too, the arguments and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally.
Kind of helps you, and you know what? To me, if you go and put the effort in of getting all that stuff set up, you're more than likely going to put the effort in to see this through, on that
There you go.
level.
Yes.
As well.
Yes.
But everyone their own. But so you guys start that DVDs, and you said when you started posting Land of the Free, that was a grind, right? That everyday posting.
Yeah.
Did you see kind of the light at the end of the tunnel? Did you know, because you said what I was going to say earlier about, it was you wanted to quit your job and do this full time, and that's, I think, all of our goal. Is to kind of maybe one day be there, right? And that way we can be around our kids when we want to be there, just do our own thing and hunt,
Sure.
Which is not easy doing this for a full-time job. You guys grind every day. But did you see that light at the end of the tunnel when you were grinding on Land of the Free?
We did not, honestly. There was a time that we were going to shut it down. There was actually a time that it was just like we were both just Cody. It was just Cody and I at the time, and we were just run ragged. And then the bank account was just going down and down and down and down. And everybody thinks that you get rich off of YouTube. You do it. Just the fact is you don't. YouTube's probably about maybe 3 to 4% of our revenue. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, no, it's just something that it's not. Being YouTube rich is a whole different thing than people think, and so. And that was at the time where we couldn't even realize it, honestly, because we were working our butts off so much that we didn't even realize, honestly, that for one, I'm not saying it wasn't working, because I mean, it was just like subscribership and it was just skyrocketing, all that. And views were just unbelievable for a company of our size, for what we were doing. And so people were loving it, but we couldn't even have the time to see that, So then I made up the uncuts thing. So I did the shout outs, and we brought that in. So just to do the video every single day wasn't enough. We were dumb enough to do an uncut on the end of every video every single day. And what that did, though, was it got the viewer to be part of it. It was part of their journey too. And so I would take emails that day, and I would take questions and stuff, and then I would shout people's names out at the time, and it just exploded from there. And that was a great thing that we did. But like I'll get back to your question.
Yeah.
What we didn't know really is just like the money was dwindling. We didn't have anything we were just going off of a dream and a prayer that this YouTube thing was gonna take off. Well, what we ended up having to do, we have a mentor at one of our offices in Roseburg, and great guy, Trevor Mock, great guy. And anyway, he said, why are you guys not selling something? You guys have to make money somehow. And we're just like running so ragged. We're like, we don't know. I don't know. We're just doing it. We're doing something. Right. And so anyway, it's just like, and we didn't have enough money, man. We didn't have enough money to sell anything. So I'm like, Trevor, how are we supposed to sell something when we don't have any money left? We're just about done with this, this whole journey. And I'm about ready to go back to cutting timber again, is what I did, for before. And Cody's about ready to go back to whatever he, some business job that he was going to go. And so anyways, like, dude, you got to sell something. And I said, well, we don't have any money to buy any shirts. We're out of money. We're tapped. And he's like, put it up online. He said, just create a website, and which we didn't know how to do. And so he helped us with that. But he says, just put it up on back order. Just put a couple shirts up on back order. And he says, then just tell the people straight up right then they can buy a shirt, but it's on back order and they'll get it when they get it. And I'm like, well, that's probably not going to work, but okay. And so we did that. And in 2 days, we made almost as much as the whole project cost. We made, over 50 grand in like 3 days. And it was an influx of that. And don't get me wrong, it hasn't been just like bananas and pajamas all over the, just stars and rainbows since, but it's been like, okay, we saw a system that worked. Now, how can we define that thing out? How can we keep pushing this and actually do what we want to do and make a revenue stream out of it? And it was the shirts and hats and sweatshirts and stuff. And the apparel is honestly what keeps our doors open.
Yeah, talking to a few different people in the last week, that seems to be, obviously they put a lot of time and effort into stuff like the shirts and hats. Now, do you guys have any of the original, that first order? Do you have any left?
I don't think so. We've done knockoff, we've done throwbacks to it, I believe, a couple different times. And those were, I'll be totally honest with you, Seth, it wasn't even a shirt then. It was a shirt with some graphics just laid over top of it is all it was. Yeah. And we're just like, please, people, please. And the people were so gracious. That's where just everything, we're so blessed because it's been the people that's got us to where we're at. It hasn't, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be doing this full time by any means. And so it's been really, really, really blessed. I would say it's unbelievably blessed as far as that goes. And we just, a lot of that though, I think, and that's like for you guys and for some of the people listening, people don't understand, it's just like, well, I'm doing this. What am I doing wrong? And that's what we thought too. It's like, so you're supposed to be YouTube rich, right? Right off the bat, the people watch and then Google sends you money and this is the way it works. And we had to learn a lot, man. We had to learn a lot about just that side of business and what that looks like. And we've definitely learned a ton.
Yeah. And I think everyone who's starting, wants to be there as fast as possible. I want to get there in a straight line as fast as possible. But what I've noticed is I've gone back, right? I look at every person on YouTube that's doing well. Mm-hmm. There's a couple key things, right? They do well. Obviously, the people, they're authentic, they have a good message, all that. But when I go back, right, click on their videos, go all the way back, just like you guys. You go back 7-8 years ago, and you're like, they were grinding 7 years ago on YouTube, mm-hmm. and now you're talking about them, but we don't realize you guys have been grinding for 7 years on this before, or 5 years before you quit your job, or 6 years, or 10 years. And I think sometimes people don't realize that. They're like, man, if I do 1 year of YouTube, I'm quitting my job, right? And I just always go back and look. How far back do they go? And it's always a long ways, right? 7 years ago, no thumbnail, just raw footage. And it's like, and then you see them evolve. So I definitely think I understand that I'm just gonna be, but I'm also doing this because I just love doing it,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And I don't think I see a destination with views. I see a destination where I'm showing my kids this in 50 years and we're laughing, right? And that's what I love about it. It's like, it's evergreen, right? So
and the fact that it's going to be there for my great grandchildren to watch their great grandpa hunt or whatever, which I think that's really cool. I think that's cool.
I think that's the coolest part about social media and YouTube is they'll be able to watch it. Hopefully it's still around. I imagine it will be.
I would assume.
Yeah, I would assume, but it's just cool. And so it's cool to get to talk to you guys. And so a couple things I want to go back. You make kind of the breakthrough. You guys, get to enjoy what you love doing and do it full time. When you said you guys learned how to edit, or have you ever had somebody come in and you guys start hiring people and they're editing now? What kind of goes on behind the scenes of the videos now?
Sure. So like I said, that guy helped us out with our first DVD editing, and then Cody jumped into that feet first, and he started editing and learning, teaching, just self-taught. And then after we progressed through that, I started editing, and so I jumped in on Adobe Premiere is what we use to edit all our stuff with. And anyway, so I jumped in, and so it was just me and Cody. So I would rough everything out, get everything on a timeline, kind of just get it all pretty much dialed. And then Cody would come in and fine tune things and make transitions and do all that. Is the way we worked all that first year. And then as we hired people, cameramen, what we did that for is just to free up time, honestly, because it just was such a time suck from us that it was just like, we didn't have any time to, we just did bow season, and that was it, because we were editing everything from bow season all through like rifle season and late season bow, when we could have been out hunting and doing other stuff that, so it was like, man, we had to bring someone in so that we could get more footage. See, because after a while, you'll learn that it's just, you got to feed this monster. This monster has got to eat, and he is hungry, and content is king. If you don't have content, you don't have a YouTube. And so you have to keep this thing going, this machine going. And so we had a cameraman that came out and filmed with us, and then he worked his butt off, because we got back from doing that. Well, then it was just all of us editing, trying to get things just out to the public, just trying to get things turned and burned. Yeah. And it's just that vicious cycle of go film, you're away from home, and then you come back, you're right here on this computer the whole time. It's just like, it was a lot. Like my old job, I worked probably twice, if not 3 times as much time now on this job as I did like my old job. But I enjoy it. I love it. I really do. I really, really do. And if I didn't, I wouldn't do it probably. But.
Yeah. I think the extra time you work, you don't feel like it, because when you love something, it doesn't feel like, it's still a grind, obviously.
Yeah.
Now, when did you guys learn about, when did you start thinking about it? From the beginning, did you start thinking, okay, my thumbnails, how I edit, was that from the get-go when you really put a lot of thought into that? Or
no.
Just cutting and editing and getting it out there, or what?
Cutting and editing and getting it out there. And there was so much that we did miss, like you're saying, like the tricky, I don't want to say clickbait, but kind of the clickbaitable stuff, the stuff that people see and just go, wow, I want to watch that. And that'd be people that aren't from, I would say that, your following and your tribe or whatever. And so, and I wouldn't say we did a terrible job at it, but there was definitely things that we could have done back then that really could have catapulted us better. And thumbnails being one, titles being one, keywords, writing in the keywords. So when they start to search for something, you have one of those keywords in there that pops up, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. We didn't really know anything about that. We didn't really have anybody to walk us through YouTube very well. We gained our model off of Hushin, actually. Mm-hmm. They were doing it, and they're like, man, you guys should do this YouTube thing. And we're like, oh boy, here we go. And as we dove into it more, they had a pretty good model going. Yeah. And so we kind of just gleaned off of what they did a lot. Yeah. And then we did stuff our own too. We did things, but no, it was, if we would have had somebody just put this little catchier thumbnail or show like an animal in the thumbnail, that's because a lot of them, it would just be us, just like another day of hunting, because we were doing it every day and trying to come up with a new thumbnail every day, especially when you don't kill anything, you don't hear a bugle, actually nothing happened except you hiked, 10 to 15 miles. That's it. It's like, okay, what do we do here? the long day, or something of that nature. It's like, nobody's going to click on that. Nobody's going to like, oh yeah, this is what I want to watch. You know what I mean? So there's definitely things that we could have done that we learned from. Yeah, totally. And we're still not there yet. It evolves so much and changes so fast. The media, the social side of things, it's just like to stay caught up with it is really tough.
Yeah, I think just getting in there and doing it, like I've learned just in the few short, we've posted probably 10, 13 videos and just learn it. It's all, I can just tell my thumbnails are evolving and they're not still perfect, but they're getting, it's just going to be one of those things I got to learn and evolve. I was just curious when you guys kind of started really diving into that. But okay, so you kind of talked about getting back grinding after the hunt. It goes on. Walk me through your hunt life, family life balance. Like how do you, it seems like, you talked about earlier when you were on that long hunt, she was like, stay, which mine would have been like, come back then, come back, So just walk me through how you've kind of managed over the years to, obviously you're probably there present, really in the present, but just walk me through your hunt life balance.
Yeah, man. Sometimes it's tough. This year, I'm really going all in on this year to really try to capture a lot of content this year. So I will be gone like almost all of the elk season. So I'll leave probably August 23rd, somewhere in there, and come back at the end of September. And then I'll be around a little bit in between there. I've tried to not take the whole month now and try to come back with family stuff and things, especially as the kids are getting older and stuff. And so I'll hunt with my son and do all that in some of those times. So, but yeah. And then it's the grind of when you hire people. So right now we have, I think 6 employees, I think. So we have 2 cameramen, editors and cameramen. We have a warehouse to where we ship all of our stuff out of and a warehouse manager. And then we have 2 digital, that work on the websites and the back end of stuff. And so they work remote, but so we have all those people that you have to still manage that side of things too. And
your boss essentially.
Yeah, you're a manager. We're a team. We're a team. And so it's like, okay, so we got to do that. And then, okay, we got to do like, okay, there's a promo coming up. Well, we got to shoot some stuff for the promo that we're going to try to do this, that we're going to try to raise money so we can keep doing what we're doing. Right. So it's all these steps that go about. And anyway, like now, like my wife, she's been like my assistant. She does awesome. She'll handle all my day-to-day stuff, like all my emails and stuff like that. She can look through them and then she can talk, okay, you need to handle this, you need to handle this or this. And so just on emails alone, like some days, like during season, sometimes we'll get, 75 emails a day and I try to answer every single one of them. I try to, unless it's someone going, hey, where were you hunting at on this video? It's like, okay, no, I'm not going to answer that. But if there's definite questions, that's my whole goal in this thing, man, is to help people. I want to see people be able to achieve their dreams. Like I was able to do mine and get to where I am. So that's what I want to see people like you guys. Like if there's any way I can ever help you guys, please reach out to me. And sure. I can't guarantee it'll be the right answer, but it'll be an answer, right? So that's how I juggle it around. And it's right, wrong, or indifferent. It takes a lot of time, and I'm away from the family quite a bit, and that part's super hard. But I've been trying to get a little more balance in there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I just kind of was curious, obviously we have I'm new father and have a family and going to go through that. So I was just curious, but now my second question following that up would be, there's obviously, I think like I said earlier, the Midwest whitetail hunter's dream is to go elk hunt. What would be your short piece of advice for those guys? Like, hey, they're wanting to go out here, should we go to Colorado first? Should we go try our hand in other spots? What would be your short advice for the Midwest guy that's wanting to go out?
That's a great question. And that's mostly the question we get, honestly. That's just, So my emails that I handle all those. And anyway, it's that guy. My biggest piece of advice probably would be, don't ever pass up an opportunity, right? If you've got an opportunity to go, and I don't care where it is, to go on a private ranch or what, there's a lot of that kind of stuff around. I think a lot of people push the OTC, you've got to go deep in the backcountry. You've got to, You don't have to do that, man. It's just, we started out that way, and we've obviously transitioned a little bit to just like, we're hunting usually like 2 to 4 miles in. We're not, we're not in there 10 miles anymore. And just because I think there's a really, really good barrier in there that people, either they go in deep or they hunt by the roads,
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like you have to really just go head over heels for it. But one thing that I would say is just do it. You just got to do it. I mean, it's honestly, I think, and we took it for granted just because we live here. I live right on the coast of Oregon. And so I'm close to the mountains. I have elk within 15 minutes of my house. But as far as like it's hard to get in the mindset of, let's say, the guy from Pennsylvania, it's just flat as a floor. And it just seems overwhelming, I think, to like go to Colorado, get there, find a spot to hunt, hike into these giant mountains, go look for this screaming animal with all these bugle tubes and these calls and this bow and arrow that it's just like it. If you break it down like that, man, it's like, oh my goodness, is this even obtainable? Am I an idiot? Is this smart to even do? And I think we take it for granted right here, and it's in our backyard, and it's just like, okay, let's go hunting, guys, come on. Whereas it seemed like we're whitetail with you guys. Hey, let's go. What's the wind doing? Let's go get in the stand. You'll stand there, maybe hog leg or whatever. I've named this deer 40 times. We'll walk by. You know what I mean? Yeah. Totally different around here. It's like you're going after something you've never seen before, maybe, and in terrain, and then elements of snow, possibly, whatever it may be, and cold at night and windstorms. It's just, and then elevation, is a whole different thing, and hiking. Yeah. There's so many of these things. I think as humans, I think it's really easy for us to be like, yeah, that's a red flag there. I can't do that. I think that's a little bit over the top of my realm of where I want to go with this. And it's breaking down those barriers, man. It's totally like one step at a time. We got it figured out. I've e-scouted. I haven't even been to the country where I want to hunt, but I've seen it from e-scouting. There's so many helpful things that we have right at our fingertips these days that people can take advantage of and be like, okay, I've seen the terrain, I've seen what it is. Let's try this. We're going to go here. This is our trail. This is where we're going to camp, and then just take it and just start checking boxes. Start doing one step at a time as far as just little things. Just like, okay, we'll make it to this lake, and it's a mile and a half in or whatever, and then let's just look around. Let's just see what's there, And the other huge piece of advice I'll give is if you're not on elk within 2 days, you need to leave. And I think people will they'll get married to a spot and be like, well, they were here last year, man. They were all over this right here. They're wallowing in here. But I don't see a piece of elk sign. And don't stay. Don't waste your time. The normal person has 7 to 10 days vacation to do this. Yeah. Yeah. Do not waste another day in a spot that doesn't have sign. Elk are huge animals. They're going to leave tracks. They're going to leave crap. They're going to leave all sorts of stuff of signs of, okay, I'm either around them or I'm definitely not around. Yeah. I've heard so many people like, oh man, we were in there for 10 days. I didn't see any sign. Well, why in the world were you in there for 10 days? For 10 days.
That's awesome advice, because I think you saying don't pass up an opportunity. I think so many of us out here talk about it. But me going once, I would give anybody that hasn't gone the advice, just go, because you'll go again.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're more likely to go a second time than you are the first time. So just go the first time and you'll come back. I promise you that, especially if you love hunting, you'll be back. So that's great advice. Because a lot we talk about it out here, and just getting out there and doing it. Even when last year, like, it was expensive. Like, I started a new family, $700 tag, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. Buy it. I'm just gonna do it, and that's what got me to go. Having a $700 tag in my pocket, I'm like, all right, I got to go do this.
Now I have to go, right?
Yeah, that's exactly. There was no me bailing out. There was no her talking me out of it. None of that. I was committed, and I went. And now it's like, oh boy, I'm ready to go again. But
yeah,
of course, I'm still in love with whitetail hunting. I think.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which, if you guys ever want to come whitetail hunt in the Midwest, we have some amazing spots. If you guys ever want to try your hand at that, have you guys been
I never have. No,
Really?
no, I never have. It's never been. So Montana, I've had mule deer tags in Montana where you can kill a whitetail as well, a whitetail or a mule deer, and they're kind of in the lowlands of Montana, and it was just, I was hunting more in the higher elevation stuff, so I never did have a chance at shooting one. But no, I've never done this tree. I sat a tree stand one time for blacktails, and I swore I almost froze to death. I don't know how you guys sit in those trees for so long, and it wasn't even that cold, and it was like.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to see what's over that hill right over there. And I'm sitting
Yeah.
in this tree for
Yeah.
days.
Yeah. And that's our mental grind is it's not like physical, right? It's sitting in a tree stand, but it's mental in the fact of like, you got to sit there all day. I think a lot of people get up, leave about 10, go eat some lunch, come back. You have to sit all day long, right?
All day.
And when I started doing that, started really grinding, it's when success happened, this stuff happened. But it's fun. It's its own world. Obviously, I grew up in it. You guys got to try it. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think in retrospect too, like what gets you there a little bit and keeps you there is like, so I sat for 2 days. I sat for 2 days straight. And anyway, I saw 3 deer in 2 days.
Yeah.
Weren't even in range to shoot. So it was one of those things where, it was like 3 deer, 2 days, but you guys are actually seeing deer, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Now there's days where we could get skunked.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's days where that happens. I mean, it's less rare in some spots, some places I have, like the new farm I just got permission on. It's unbelievable. I haven't been skunked there, but yeah, there's days where I've sat for 12 plus hours and not seen a single thing besides squirrels and a farmer maybe driving by on his 4-wheeler. But yeah, no, it's fun. There's a lot of times we see a lot of deer. So yeah, that's when it's most fun. But all right, yeah, kind of bringing it back. Let me see here. I got my notes, so I'll just kind of go back. Kind of rounding this off. What are born and raised goals in the next year, 2 years down the road? What do you guys want to do? Anything new, or do you just want to keep on educating people in elk hunting and keep producing content?
So our biggest is elk hunting. That's our biggest thing, as far as just like, that's what people kind of know us for. And that, which is, don't get me wrong, rad, awesome. But we love the adventure. That's our goal, is the adventure in this whole thing. And so my goals moving forward is just more adventure, more go see places that I never thought I could. We've got we're starting to plan an Alaska trip, and it's for a couple years down the road, but it's like, that's just one of the things I've always wanted to do, and never obviously done it, and never has been in the cards and stuff. And so we're starting to kind of save now for that adventure. Because those kind of things are expensive. I mean, we do get people that, hey, I'll take you for free for this, for that, and everything. And we don't try to do a lot of those things, just because it's just like, I want to be able to say, okay, the normal person, you can do this. You can do this if you really, really like budget it out, and you can do this. And so that's what our whole thing is. We're here for the regular Joe. That is us too.
With us better, and as a fan. It's good to see those things. Like, you're right, though. When people do certain things, or you guys make it look like, okay, this is literally they're showing every bit. And that's what makes your guys' stuff so good. You probably know it, but as a fan, someone who watches, you do the Colorado stuff. You make it like, okay, that's doable. That's out there. That's you can go buy that tag. You can make that happen. So that's awesome. So Alaska, you guys are gonna just elk hunt that, or are you gonna do a bear hunt?
It'll be blacktail, Sitka blacktail hunt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any elk in Alaska?
There are. There's a few different islands that have the elk. Getting a tag's a little bit difficult. We've looked into it, and drawing a tag for it's pretty hard. But one of these days, I would love to do that and go and get flown into those islands that have elk on them. That would be pretty awesome. So,
cool. Yeah.
Corey Jacobson, I was just talking to him. We had lunch here just last week, and anyway, and he did Alaska this last year, and he said it would probably one of the hardest things he's ever done in his life. He said
Really?
it was very difficult. Yeah. Cause you get dropped off and then you got to go up to kill these things and then, bring them back down to where a plane can get to them. And he said it rained every day pretty much. He said it was miserable. So
that's a mental state you got.
it's a grind.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a grind. Yeah.
Thinking about
But
it.
yeah, no, I think, and just the adventure, that's where we're at now, as far as like, okay, what can we like look into doing that's just something we never thought that we could do, So, and everybody has different aspects. I don't have any aspects like to go on a safari or anything like that. I've never really wanted, Africa has never been my thing. I'd like to keep it right here in the, in the West. So
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And look, I love what you guys are doing. If I, as a fan, my one snippet would be share more of the wins, because I feel like fans, when you watch somebody, when they win, you feel like you won. And I don't know where everyone that watches you is at in their life, but they may really be down. And when you guys win, we feel like we win too. As weird as that sounds as a fan, and you probably know that from watching people as well. But yeah,
I love that.
I just love what you guys are doing. Love your message. Love watching the group as a whole. It's a lot of different. You guys have different personalities, and it's cool to watch. And I appreciate you taking the time to do this. I don't even know where we're at here on time, but yeah. Any last kind of a piece of advice you'd let me give to anybody else coming out there, or anything? Anybody started a YouTube channel?
Yeah, no, and I've my goal has been to kind of mentor people that want to do the same thing. I think we covered that earlier.
Yeah.
And you hit the nail on the head, man. I just 90% of the people that say, I want to do this, I'm going to do this, they do it for about a month. And then it's like, oh man, it's just not for me, or something of that nature. It is a grind. It's a grind of every single day. It's a grind of of just a repetitious trying to do stuff. But man, if you're authentic and if you just do things from your heart, and it shows through to people can see that, and they will, I promise you, they will, like you said, different characters, right? Different people glob onto different characters, and man, I guarantee you there will be people that want to watch what you're doing. There will be a group out there that want to watch what you're doing. And so just stay at it, man. Just stay the course, and keep grinding, and good things will happen if you just keep at it.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. And that's what I'm trying to stay in the present and just push that day's agenda and get the next and the next, and let it build, So
Yeah.
I appreciate it. That's a good piece of advice. And I love that.
Absolutely.
So yeah, once again, thanks for coming on.
Sure.
I appreciate it.